This is the ultimate camera comparison video between Honor 400 and Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. I think people would like to see the difference between these two phones since they are both similarly priced on the used market. Honor 400 is 200 megapixel main, while Samsung Galaxy S23 FE has triple camera setup with a 50 megapixel sensor, dual camera system on Honor 400. I think that's it for a quick audio test. Let the battle begin. On the widest ported mode, which is 1x, you would notice that you have a wider field of view on Galaxy S23 FE in terms of details. Checking the jacket and the face, you have more details on Honor 400. Also, in terms of exposure, you have better exposed images on Honor 400 compared to the darker S23 FE. On 2x, same tendency as 1x, you got a wider field of view on S23 FE compared to Honor 400, but again, in terms of details, you would see more on Honor 400. Also, in terms of color profile, you got a warmer white balance on Honor 400 and cooler tone on S23 FE. The shadows are crushed on the latest Honor mid-range. Both phones have portrait zoom. You got 3x on both phones. You got a warmer look on Honor 400 and a bit more detailed. We have a cooler tone on S23 FE and you get a more beautified look. Also, you will see that the background blur is creamier on S23 FE. It uses the telephoto lens. We got 3 focal lengths on S23 FE, 1x, 2x, and 3x, and we got 4 on Honor 400 with that 1.5x. On the selfie shooter, both phones are really good. We got a lot of details on both phones. Honor 400 crushes the blacks, looking at my cap and the hair of my wife, while it's better exposed and warmer on S23 FE. Now this is the vlogging test of both phones, starting with the selfie video recording, 4K 30 FPS on both phones. This is a 10 megapixel sensor for Samsung Galaxy S23 Fan Edition and 50 megapixel on Honor 400. We can also switch 1x and 0.8x on the latest Honor phone. Samsung Galaxy S series and even the Fan Edition already have 12 megapixels, so this is an older sensor for Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. In terms of video quality on vlogging, we got a warmer white balance and brighter on Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. And we have a natural looking tone and stronger contrast on Honor 400. I think that's it for selfie video recording vlogging test. Now let's check the rear cameras. Now this is the sit-down vlogging test, starting with the ultra-wide 4K 30 FPS on both phones. Again, we can shoot 60 FPS on S23 FE. In terms of field of view, we get a wider field of view on Samsung Galaxy S23 Fan Edition at 0.6x, while 0.7x on Honor 400. In terms of details and video quality, looking at my hands, we got better quality on S23 FE. It's warmer and has more details and cleaner compared to Honor 400, softer and noisier. And in terms of color profile, you got a warmer white balance on S23 FE and cooler tone on Honor 400. Again, both in 4K 30 FPS. And this is my face close up on the ultra wide. Now let's check the main sensor. Now this is the battle of the main sensor again. We got the sit down talking head video vlogging test. So we have 4K 30 FPS on both phones. We have 200 megapixel sensor on Honor 400 versus 50 megapixel sensor on Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. In terms of the sensor size, we got 1 over 1.4 inch on Honor 400 and 1 over 1.57 inch on Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. Video quality, you got a warmer white balance on S23 FE compared to the cooler tone of Honor 400. In terms of details, both phones are detailed. Might be a bit detailed on S23 FE compared to Honor 400. Again, it's just a matter of personal choice, but I think I like the colors more on S23 FE compared to Honor 400. Now let's check the zoom. Now we're testing the zoom on both phones. Still on the vlogging test, we got 4K 30 FPS on both phones. We got 3x optical zoom on S23 FE using the 8 megapixel sensor, and we're just cropping in on the 200 megapixel sensor, main sensor of Honor 400. I think that's it for the vlogging and video test. Now let's check some image quality. On the image quality test, checking the ultra-wide, we got a wider field of view in S23 FE. Also, the white balance is warmer compared to the Honor competition, and it exposes the shadows better looking at the trees. You make it look easy. Go on and do what you do. All of this looks like gold. On the main sensor test, excellent image quality on both phones. You got a more vivid look on S23 FE compared to the natural looking Honor 400. We may have more details on Honor 400 because of the 200 megapixel sensor, but in terms of FOV, it's a bit punching on the latest mid-range.
Are you seeing clear? Are you seeing clear? All the colors here.
On 3x, we got a dedicated zoom on S23 FE, so you will see that the images are softer, and it's over-sharpened on Honor 400 because it's using the crop, but because of the 200 megapixel sensor, you will still have a lot of details on the Honor mid-range.
I like where this is going.
In terms of the 4D zoom, both phones has 30x, but you got a warmer white balance on S23 FE.
Twice, make you look twice.
And lastly, macro, you got macro shot on Honor 400.
What a touch, what a touch, what a touch turns to gold.
Alright, this is the outdoor video test, Honor 400 versus Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. You can shoot 0.8x and 1x on Honor 400. I can switch back and forth. Look at the colors of the sky. So a little bit colorful on S23 FE, and also looking at the grass. Let's check the autofocus. And this is the vlogging test on the selfie camera outdoors. Which phone do you think is better? Now let's check some video stabilization. Alright, let's check the rear cameras. And this is the rear cam of both phones, starting with the ultra-wide, both in 4K 30 FPS. So we have a wider field of view on Samsung Galaxy S23 FE versus 0.7x on Honor 400, so 0.6x versus 0.7x. Looking at the colors, again, you got more saturated, more vivid look on S23 FE compared to the competition. Look at the sky, natural looking on Honor 400, which is also nice. Let's check the autofocus. And this is the vlogging test using the ultra-wide with human subject in frame. Let's check the video stabilization. Now switching to the main sensor, 200 megapixel sensor on Honor 400 versus 50 megapixel sensor on S23 FE. And look at the sky and flaring, both managing it really well. How about the exposure? Honor 400 is crushing the shadows a bit. Let's check the autofocus. I think you got better autofocus on Honor 400 compared to S23 FE. Look at that. And let's check the video stabilization. Now we have 3x on S23 FE, and we also have crop, 3x crop on Honor 400 using the 200 megapixel sensor. You can see better details on S23 FE, looking at the grass and the trees. And going for the 4D zoom, we got 10x on Honor 400 and 12x on S23 FE. Switching back to the ultra-wide, which phone do you think is better? On the ultra-wide night shot, you got better exposure on S23 FE, but the image is softer looking, especially if there's movement compared to Honor 400. The latest Honor is natural looking. On pitch black condition, you got better exposed and more detailed on S23 FE. On the main sensor test, both phones are really good. Again, just a difference on the colors. You got natural looking colors on Honor 400 and more vivid on S23 FE. And on pitch black condition, you got a more detailed, sharper, and better exposed S23 FE. And lastly, on 3x, because of the dedicated sensor on S23 FE, it has more details and better colors compared to Honor 400. And on pitch black condition, again, you got less noise and better exposure on S23 FE. Now let's check the low light video test, starting with selfie video recording 4K 30 FPS on both phones. We can shoot 60 FPS on Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. In terms of video quality, we got a warmer look on S23 FE, and we got a darker, more contrasty feel on Honor 400. In terms of beautification, I think both phones are beautified, but you have a natural looking tone on Honor 400 also. You can switch to 1x and 0.8x. I think that's it for the selfie video recording. Now let's check the rear cameras. Now this is the low light video test, starting with the ultra wide lens 4K 30 FPS on both phones. We can shoot 60 FPS on S23 FE. In terms of video quality, I like the wider look on S23 FE, 0.7x on Honor 400 versus 0.6x on S23 FE. Also in terms of video quality, we get a noisier Honor 400 compared to S23 FE. Look at my hands, you got better looking S23 FE compared to Honor 400. I think that's it for the ultra wide. Now we're checking the main sensors of both phones. So 200 megapixel sensor on Honor 400 versus 50 megapixel sensor on S23 FE. We got 1/1.57 inch sensor on S23 FE and 1/1.4 inch sensor on Honor 400. In terms of video quality, we get a brighter and better exposed Honor 400, looking at my shirt, compared to S23 FE. And in terms of noise and details, I think both phones are really good. I like the natural looking tone and contrast on S23 FE, but I like the exposure on Honor 400. This is a matter of personal taste. Now let's check the zoom. Now we're checking the zoom quality of both phones on low light video recording. We got 8 megapixel sensor on Samsung Galaxy S23 FE, and we're just cropping in on a 200 megapixel sensor on Honor 400. In terms of video quality, this is what you would look like on low light video test. I think that's it for the low light video recording. Now let's check the video resolution. This is video resolution test, starting with Honor 400 as 4K 30 FPS. And this is Samsung Galaxy S23 Fan Edition in 8K 24 FPS, cinematic 24 FPS. Which phone do you think is better? We're comparing this because of the price point. You may find both phones on similar price on a used and brand new market. I think that's it for our camera comparison video of these phones. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.